Hey guys, welcome to Get Busy Watching. I'm your host, Honest Dan. Let's talk movies. In commemoration of the upcoming sequel coming to America, I'm going to take a look back on the original film. But first, let's talk about Eddie Murphy. Murphy used to be one of the great funny men in Hollywood for me. In my childhood, he was right up there with Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, and Mike Myers. Dr. Dolittle, The Nutty Professor, Shrek, Mulan, Mushu didn't age well for me, but he was a comedy titan in my eyes. But then something went horribly wrong, seemingly starting in 2002 with Pluto Nash. Though one could argue that Murphy's catalog was always a bit checkered in the late 90s, early new millennium, his work, even if objectively not good, still had some level of popularity and adoration among his fans. I know Dr. Dolittle 2 isn't technically a good film, but it's one of the only films I've ever seen that made a fart joke funny. Some movies still worked between 02 and 06, but it seemed like for every Shrek 2 and Dreamgirls, we also got a Daddy Daycare and Haunted Mansion. But things didn't officially go south for Murphy until 07. From 07 to 2012, it was a dark time for Murphy fans. His career took a nosedive from the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down to such a degree that even the coveted Shrek movies weren't as golden as they used to be. After 2012's 1,000 Words, the man seemingly vanished from films entirely. He made a comeback of sorts in recent years in the highly overlooked Mr. Church, and I hear nothing but positive things regarding Dolomite. So maybe the man is finally evolving, unlike other comedy titans who fell from grace, slowly. But if his recent outings are any indication of a return to form, then color me ready to show my support once again. Before we officially kick off this review, I want to confess something. I've never seen this movie before. You uncultured swine!
Boo! You stink!
I know, that's probably sacrilegious in some places. Yeah, it's true. For all the boasting I've done about how great he was in the 90s, I've surprisingly never seen anything that he's done in the 80s, which is when he was at his best. Nope, never seen 48 Hours, never seen Harlem Nights. No, I have not even seen Beverly Hills Cop. Not the first one, not the sequels, none of them. That really needs to change. Let's start with this one. This is my honest opinion of Coming to America. Akeem, played by Eddie Murphy, is a pampered young prince of the African nation of Zamunda, who is about to be married off to a woman he doesn't know. Desperate to marry out of true love, he decides to go to America to find a woman that he actually cares about. He does in the form of his new boss's daughter, Lisa, played by Shari Headley, who happens to be in a relationship with the less than savory Daryl, played by Eric LaSalle.
Oha! It is my 21st birthday. Do you think perhaps just once I might use the bathroom by myself?
Most amusing, sir. Wipers!
I like it. I like it a lot. I don't love it though. In fact, a lot of this is actually pretty outdated for me, and there are parts that I really don't like. Well, I am a brave man, so let's start with the negatives. First and foremost, I've grown to really dislike the whole obnoxiously loud black characters, where every sentence has to be shouted and indiscernible.
I ain't saying clean bad. I'm just saying I stopped liking Cassius Clay once you changed the name to Muhammad Ali. What kind of shit is that?
The volume of your voice is not a measure of comedy. I couldn't stand it with Chris Tucker. I couldn't stand it with Chris Rock. I sure as hell can't stand it from Kevin Hart. I can't stand it with Eddie Murphy. Or Arsenio Hall for that matter, to be fair. Comedy isn't about auditory damage risk. It's about what's being said and who's saying it. If all you have are borderline cartoon characters just shouting, it's hard to laugh at anything when I'm wincing just trying to make it through the scene. Made worse when I can't understand what's being said. So I don't even know if the actual dialogue is good. It's just not my style of comedy. I just saw Judas and the Black Messiah, right? I fully admit, when Daniel Kaluuya is going off to his audience, I didn't always understand what he was saying. His dialect as Fred Hampton, coupled with the speed in which he spoke, sometimes didn't register in my ears. But he had a clear-cut character that made me want to listen to him, to try and understand him. The problem with comedies is that these aren't characters. They're just sound effects that happen to say words.
I'll whoop your ass, Clarence. Don't call me now.
Right, you tall black motherfucker. There's women up inside.
I don't give a fuck about it. Ain't nobody give me nothing.
Another issue is how predictable it is. Yet again, like many rom-coms that came before and after, this is a story that's been copied and pasted numerous times. Hell, Disney has made a career off of Disney princesses that think
there must be more than this provincial life.
So from the moment that the story kicks off and sets up the pieces for the game we're about to play, you know exactly what's going to happen, when they're going to happen, and how it'll end. Of course he wants to marry for love and not obligation. Of course he's going to find the static nice girl that he wants to romance. Of course she's with a guy that isn't good for her, but he doesn't make that clear until much later. Of course there's a third act breakup, and of course it's going to be a very forced happy ending. It's all there and nothing was surprising.
Because people tell me how talented I am, I'm a natural and stuff like that. So then I'm gonna write my own.
Oh, somebody kill me, please!
At least not on the surface, but we'll get there in the positives. I don't know why Akeem kept Semi around. Yeah, sure, fine, he's like the bodyguard, best friend type character, but one would think that Semi is just kind of there to ruin everything that Akeem is trying to accomplish while in America. It's clear he did not want to live in the slums, and yet he had money to go anywhere else.
Akeem! You told me to fix up the place.
Nothing was keeping him there when Akeem seemed perfectly content with his surroundings. Stay in separate places in New York, keep in contact in case both of you had to go back to Samunda, and just do your own things. Semi's whining didn't need to be a burden on Akeem, and Semi didn't need to stay with Akeem regardless of his obligations that no one was going to enforce on him.
You are being unreasonable. If you have ruined my chances with Lisa, I will never forgive you.
These negatives are a little hard to mention because, like I said, I do like this movie. And these negatives are going to prevent me from liking it as much as everyone else seems to. But I did say that I like it, so let's finally talk about those positives. Despite the been there, done that plot and characters, I do like Akeem as a character. Clearly a product of his upbringing, but he's got a good enough head on his shoulders that he will question everything around him. One of my favorite bits is when he pulls his bride-to-be aside, and once he starts giving her strange commands, like barking like a dog and hopping on one foot, I love how he knows how absurd this entire situation is. This sums up everything that I grew to love about Akeem as a character, and frankly, Murphy's acting. He's not an over-the-top caricature. He's a person. He's lovable, excitable, understanding, and has those truly charming and charismatic moments that elevate him above most rom-com characters. It's a breath of fresh air, especially considering his lesser work when he's just a live-action cartoon. No joke, I think out of all the comedies I've seen of Murphy, this might be my favorite one. And lo and behold, something you really probably wouldn't expect me to say, it's funny. I know a few minutes ago I lambasted this thing for having seriously unfunny moments, and I hold true to that, but when there's comedy not coming out of the annoying characters, it can actually make me laugh. Or if I'm not laughing, then I'm smiling. How about that? Both of these elements really come together and created something that pulled it through for me. So you'll never hear me disagree with someone who has nothing but positives to say. I'll just know better than to say that out loud.
When you think of garbage, think of Akeem.
I know it's kind of silly to have a a spoiler warning for a movie that's almost 33 years old, but out of respect to those who have never seen this before, I'm going to lay down a warning. If you don't want spoilers, jump to this time code. Swinging back to the negatives, I don't like how this movie ended. Too rushed. Despite being kind of a traditional liar reveal type story, I do understand why Akeem wanted to keep his life a secret from Lisa, so as not to risk that she only wants him for his money. I get it, and I'm on board with it. Hell, I'm even on board with how Lisa reacted to the reveal. Just a whole lot of dominoes falling and things just got out of hand. What I could not get behind was this. So after everything gets revealed to Lisa, she basically understandably says, nah, I'm not into this relationship anymore. Except she's definitely into this relationship in almost the next shot when she's just suddenly in a wedding dress in Zamunda. Last we saw her, she was running away from him in the subway car, and now here we are getting hitched. What the hell happened that made her change her mind? If I were to write this, if I were to change anything, I would say no. She has to tell him to properly court her now. Now that all the cards are on the table, yes, there's understandable reasons for all of it, but now you have to actually date. You have to actually get to know each other. You have to do things right now. See how you two really gel together and if the relationship would truly work out. You know, like an actual relationship. I just don't like what was done here. It's too contrived. I understand why this is so beloved. It's a fun, cute, and heartfelt rom-com, and I enjoyed it very much. But you've heard me bitch about the unfunny comedy and the predictability of this story, and these do kind of hinder the experience for me. Not enough to make it bad, but just enough so I'm not quite on the bandwagon. I am looking forward to the sequel. I will give it a fair shake, and I do hope that this is a sign that Murphy caught his second wind. I would be so happy to support this man's work once again. My honest rating for Coming to America, a 4 out of 5.
Yes! Yes! Fuck you too!
Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there. Please wear a mask if you go out. Hope to see you soon.